Good morning, everyone. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Jeff and the 92nd Street Y to make this special event possible, and all of you for attending. My name is Zoltan, and I'm Jeff's exercise instructor. For the past 5 months, I had the privilege to assist Jeff build a healthy and strong enough body to be able to perform a one-arm push-up without the use of growth stimulants or muscle-enhancing products the natural way. For someone like Jeff, who struggled with various upper body issues and purposely avoided exercise for fear of injuring his shoulders, obtaining the required skills to perform horizontal exercises turned out to be a real challenge. Today, I'd like to speak to you about some of the greatest hurdles Jeff had to face and learn to deal with for the first time in his life, if he wanted to accomplish this physically demanding task without suffering any drawbacks or injuries. Upright is out, relaxed is in. The first time I met Jeff, what I immediately noticed is that he was a person with a habituated forward posture, very common among those who spend many hours sitting. The drooping shoulders, forward jutting head, slumping upper back are all telltale signs of forward-leaning posture. For those who do not know what posture means, it simply means the misalignment of body parts in relation to one another. Unfortunately, many of us are relegated to spending long periods seated at our desks, riding in our cars, or in front of a computer, and remain unaware that sitting for extended periods can be particularly unhealthy, especially when segments of the upper body are held in extreme positions. As we go about our daily routine, we often lose connection with our bodies and fail to recognize that bending and bowing the body in the wrong places can predispose us to a variety of dysfunctions with broad-reaching effects on our health and well-being. Now let's take a look at some of the triggering mechanisms, various manifestations, and the unbeneficial effects of the most commonly occurring postural anomalies. Rolled over shoulders. Rolled over shoulders usually result from lack of strength or control of the upper back muscles, particularly when lifting or pulling action is performed using the arms. When we lift or reach out for an object in front with arms extended, if we lack sufficient awareness how the muscles function on the upper back, the scapula, which is right there, that bone, that flat bone in the back, is allowed to glide forward on the ribs. If this movement is repeated on a regular basis, the back muscles get increasingly elongated and stretched, while the muscles at the front of the body get shorter and tend to tighten up. Repeated forward pull by the frontal muscles on the shoulder joints over time result in gradual frontward positioning of the entire shoulder complex. Seemingly innocent daily acts, such as holding the arms crossed in front of the body, lifting even light objects while bending forward, or gripping the steering wheel that's too far from a seat as we sink back into our car seat, are all common triggering factors. According to the literature, and experience proves it out, that asymmetric combination of short frontal and elongated back muscles prevent normal shoulder function and contribute to a variety of syndromes. Numbness or tingling in the fingers, sensations of tennis elbow, soreness when the arms are raised above shoulder level, and even displacement of the shoulder are common occurrences. Unquestionably, the most vulnerable area of Jeff's body was his shoulders. Having him perform push-up exercises without addressing existing muscle imbalances first would likely have resulted in an injury and completely halt his progress, and perhaps confirmed his fears regarding the helpless state of his shoulders. Under my continual watch and supervision, this scenario, thankfully, has never occurred. Forward bent, forward bent thoracic spine. Weak and elongated spinal extensors combined with shorter and overactive spinal flexors directly contribute to the excessive forward bending at segments of the spinal column on the upper back, and is the leading cause of something called office hunchback. Holding segments of the thoracic spine in this bent angle affects physical appearance by giving the body a stooped look. What's unclear to many is that this position hinders their ability to activate the diaphragm, the primary muscle responsible for efficient breathing. Studies indicate that faulty upper body posture is directly responsible for partial diaphragm collapse, affecting maximum rib expansion and interfering with breathing capacity. This results in a variety of conditions and symptoms, such as decreased oxygen levels by up to 5 to 8%, tighter arteries, i.e. higher blood pressure, increased acidity in the muscles, hyperventilation when exerted, or getting a brick on the chest feeling. In the early days of our training, Jeff often resorted to breathing through his mouth, and as a result, he tired quickly and was unable to maintain stamina. Because of the extra effort Jeff makes to maintain a neutral, upright position while exercising, he's now able to carry out a breathing technique commonly known as breath of fire with ease. This is done by taking rapid succession of breaths using the nostrils to activate the diaphragm. Proper oxygen metabolism, activated by correct breathing, is key to initiating and sustaining the many beneficial states and processes that's needed in the body. Having the ability to activate the diaphragm, Jeff is able to oxygenate his cells, re-energize his body, and burn extra calories using the body's fat reserves as fuel at will. He is no longer besieged by tiredness and able to complete his 1 to 1.5 hour sessions without feeling the need to quit prematurely due to exhaustion. Forward head. Although I observed this phenomenon on people with a completely straight upper back, a person with bent upper back feels a greater urge to launch the head forward. This is because the curved position of the upper back, they feel compelled to stare at the ground and find it to keep their eyes on the horizon. To look straight ahead, they resort to lifting the chin and swing the head backwards instead of straightening up the back. This results in the bending of the spine at an abrupt angle at the thoracic and cervical junction. Right there. The continued bending of the cervical spine at the base of the neck can result in a variety of symptoms, such as episodic muscle spasm in the neck and shoulders, one-sided frontal headaches, herniated or bulging disc, and various degenerative conditions, such as the collapse of the spongy material between the vertebral bodies, which can literally shrink the person and lead to diminished height. When Jeff came to me first, he often held his head in this forward-hanging position and looked much shorter than his actual height. Because of his continued effort to lift his head up and tuck in his chin during exercises, and as often as he can remember through his daily routine, his height has increased visibly just over a short 2-month period, which was noted by many who know him and watched this seemingly impossible transformation. Jeff's term for holding the head in this upright position is peacock strut, commonly referred in the literature as power posing. Research findings show that power posing is not just a felt sensation. It results in actual physical and behavioral changes in both men and women. Dr. Carney from Columbia University Graduate School of Business published an article in the 2010 Journal of Psychology and Science stating that upright posture, I quote, causes elevations in testosterone, decreases in cortisol, and increased tolerance for risk, end quote. I hope that most of you realize by now that exhibiting a nonverbal display of confidence is a cultivated trait and can be attained by anyone looking to express a strong sense of self-control and assuredness in public just by practicing upright head position. The chances of remaining healthy depend on our ability to hold bay at the forces trying to tear us down. My goal today was to provoke all of you to think differently about everyday sitting and adopted posture habits, show you what's really happening hidden in plain sight, so you may find parallels in your life and circumstances. Some people deal with their bodies as if they were enemies or ignore them until they break down. I hope that Jeff's story will change your minds and motivate you to treat the body more intelligently by making its vital parts positioned and move the way they're meant to be. All it really takes is for you to venture out of your movement comfort range and have the courage to leave behind the daily rituals your body settled itself into. Faced with the fact, Jeff made a conscious effort to do just that, which yielded him extraordinary dividends of mental, physical, and emotional health and fulfillment. I know that you are most anxious to see Jeff do a one-arm push-up today. Following my advice, he will only attempt the modified version since his shoulders, especially the troublesome left one, are still not conditioned well enough to withstand the pressures they are going to be put through. This may disappoint some of you, but my motto is safety first. Whether Jeff can perform a one-arm push-up on the floor or use a raised support, in my opinion, is of no importance. As of today, he is able to bench press 235 pounds while maintaining good shoulder mechanics, run a mile nonstop using breath work, and most importantly, learn to switch off the reflexes which have led to permanent upper body and posture distortions. His true reward is having a body that's more responsive, more graceful, and comfortable to live with, and an outlook that lacks anxiety and fear. Those who are interested in learning a few simple but very effective upper body and spine mobilization techniques, I invite you to come to an early morning session tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. in Central Park. You can see me after the talk if you'd like. And finally, I'd like to hand over the microphone to the host of this very special event, Jeff Kenny Palmer, and a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know. But well, thank you, all of you, for being here. Before I attempt this, is there photos? We can cue the photos. We have some photos here, a few to show. Oh yeah, see that's me. That's a version of me. That was Alan Weinkrantz. He found that. That's from Omaha in 2010. Yeah, we just found out the other day. See, I wasn't always like that. But when I was growing up, I kind of had hobbies which encouraged me to sit down. And I spent a lifetime basically sitting down, leaning forward. So I lost my height in the process. But I just want to have, if you go to the next photo, if you can. See, that's me as a kid. I was skinny. That's my puppy, Corky. Next photo. Next photo. That's me at 17. And that was right around the time I dislocated my left shoulder for the first time. But I had a 2-year pass from going to gym. So at the time, I thought it was okay. But it kind of discouraged me from exercise. And again, another photo? Next one, please. That's me at 23, without a shirt. And that was right before I was going to dislocate my shoulder for the second time. Now, go back to the first photo, please. So that's what I ended up. Because it turns out that, if you don't exercise ever, you could be like that. Now, for me, it was about exercising judgment, but sometimes knowing what you're doing and knowing what you're not doing. It really depends upon how you approach it. Because I grew up skinny, I ate whatever I wanted to. Diet and exercise wasn't something I really embraced. And when I got older, very progressively, I didn't want to bore everybody seeing it my entire life. So I leave it with this. But I gradually went to a phase in my life where I went out to eat every night. And I traveled a lot, and I had great excuses not to go work out because, I was traveling. And it's all bullshit, it turns out. But if you want excuses, we could rationalize this forever. But if you decide to take a chance and to go on a journey, as cliche as it sounds, every journey begins with just one step. And it's a commitment to yourself and to your family, but really to you, to make that change. And for me, and of course, not being athletic and being klutzy, that was also part of the reason why I didn't go to the gym. I mean, I was always the last person chosen for any kind of sporting event. And after so many times of being rejected, the last thing I need to do is be rejected again. So, but life is funny like that. So I started this journey, and when I was working on this conference, I decided I had a goal, and it's not the only goal. My life is not going back to where it was. I'm only looking forward. So I'm going to try this, and I'll talk maybe after I try, but I'm going to try, based on Zoltan's guidance, to see if I can do this push-up. But part of me feels, and it's very guilty of it, but it's like, I really do feel like I appreciate the fact that I've achieved something, but I want more. I'm obsessive about things, and when I don't have the if I need something to strive for, I go for whatever I could find. But I'll tell you, one of the biggest treats I had was playing basketball with my kids for the first time in 19 years on Sunday. So, and I don't know if, by the way, if you were here for the yoga session, you started to breathe. One of the absolute secrets to my sort of success in starting to get into shape, Zoltan taught me 2 types of breathing. It's the solar plex breathing, right, where you inhale and your stomach goes out, and you exhale. It relaxes you, but it gives you strength. The other type of breathing is what we call fire breathing. I don't know if anyone else knows it as fire breathing, but Zoltan and I do. Whenever I need automatic ATPs to come in to help me lift weights, and I need that for this right now, you see, so I'm not going to heavy breathe. Let's try this. But it's breathing is key to all this. And so is, you know, setting yourself for success, because there is no failure. It's not that failure isn't an option. You try, and you try again. I mean, Mark Twain said that, you know, quitting smoking was easy. He did it over 100 times. I think finding a journey is easy. It doesn't matter how many times you try. It's not about falling off. It's your life. It's your body. When you're ready to do something, the law of readiness says you're ready. No matter how much you love someone wanting them to do something, if they're not ready for it, it's not going to happen. But then a moment in time clicks in, and watch out. So I'm going to take a second or two, chill, and I'll try this. So let me give it a try. All right. Whoa. So I think that was okay. That was okay, Zoltan? That was all right. Wow. I just don't want to cry. But, well, all right. So these are crazy things anyone can do. Because see that person? That's me too. He has the same feelings, the same being. We're all one. Thank you very much, guys.